Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Jacob's Landing. Welcome to Woodbridge Township. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town. I always start by saying we're the best town around, and today you're seeing why. We're here at Jacob's Landing, a project that, ironically, we had the groundbreaking on 1 year ago today. And if you would have told anybody back then that in 12 months we would have all these beautiful buildings up and all the old buildings down and people would be actually living here in less than 12 months, I probably would have said you were a little off. But it worked, and it worked because of the partnership between Ingram & Associates, BCM Affordable Housing, the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, the Woodbridge Housing Authority, the Woodbridge Redevelopment Agency, and the Woodbridge Affordable Housing Corporation. This makes Jacob's Landing a reality. Jacob's Landing is named after Colonel Jack Jacobs, who was a true Woodbridge hero in the Vietnam War, probably one of the most decorated veterans ever to come out of Woodbridge Township. He is actually a very active person. He lives out in California. He's a regular contributor to MSNBC on military affairs, and he could not be with us today. But we want to thank him for allowing us to use his name and recognize his service to our great country. The Ingram & Associates Group has been involved in 3 different projects in town. They started on Maple Tree Manor way back in the 90s. I remember being the CFO of the town back then when Mayor McGreevy brought them in to build a 75-unit housing complex there. They did such a good job with it there. We remembered exactly what they did, that when we got here and when I took over as mayor, we got them to do Reinhardt Manor in Colonia, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then Delina Manor in Hope Lawn, which is absolutely gorgeous. So now they've got 3 senior housing complexes in town, and this is their 4th. Not a senior complex necessarily, but an affordable housing complex that we're very, very proud of. All you have to do to know about this project is stand on Buns Lane, which will soon be named Veterans Way. Stand where you can see the old buildings and you can see the new buildings, and that's the only picture you have to see as to why we did this project. The buildings were old, the people were great, the living conditions were good, but the buildings themselves weren't. They just didn't look so good. They go back to the 40s and 50s. It was a federal housing project, and we knew something had to be done. So for the last very many years, we've been working on this project to try to make it happen. This is going to include 204 apartments, up from 150. It helps us meet some of our requirements for affordable housing with the state of New Jersey. And there'll be off-street parking, which will be a whole lot better for the neighborhood. In the past, there was no parking on site, so people used to park not only on Buns Lane, but into the neighborhood. And of course, nobody likes people parking in front of your home from another part of the town. Even though nobody owns the spot in front of their home, we all know that, but still, this kind of invasion parking is never good for a neighborhood, so we're thrilled that we're able to self-contain all the parking here. There's a lot of people I want to introduce. Let me start with some of the non-speakers. I'll get to the speakers as we introduce them. We have quite a few members of our town council here. To my far left, Greg Ficara, who for many, many years has also served as a commissioner on the Woodbridge Housing Authority. I think before you were a councilman? Yes. You were on the authority, and he's been on the authority since, so that's probably 12 or 13 years that Greg's been here. Way in the back there, Nancy Drum, she is the first ward councilman who covers this area. What else? The Debbie Meehan is the councilwoman from Colonia. Lizbeth DeJesus is a councilwoman at large. Brian Small is a councilman at large. In the audience, we have a longtime council person who was also the rep on the Housing Authority who Greg replaced, Brenda Velasco. Thank you, Brenda. We have some members of our Affordable Housing Corporation. I think our newest member, Sharad Agarwal. Thank you for coming out. Maybe the second newest member, Jenny Rosado. Thank you for coming out. We have a whole bunch of people from the Housing Authority. If you work for the Housing Authority, stand up. If you're standing up, raise your hand. There we go. Everybody that works for the Great Housing Authority. Our main financing from this project came from the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Financing Agency. We have with us Katie Brennan, who is the chief of staff to that entity. I would like to ask Katie now if she would come up and say a few words.
A little shorter than him. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katie Brennan, and I am very pleased to join you today on behalf of the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency to celebrate this grand opening of Jacob's Landing Phase 1. New Jersey Housing, what is it that we do? We provide the funding for home ownership and affordable housing opportunities. Very simply, it's because we believe that every New Jerseyan deserves a safe, a decent, and an affordable place to call home. And we work with developers and nonprofits and other groups through our financing and our loan and our bond programs and the award of low-income housing tax credits, to build affordable housing for working families, seniors, residents with special needs, such as individuals with disabilities, veterans, victims of domestic violence, the homeless, and more. And while New Jersey Housing has been a leader in the creation and the rehabilitation of nearly 100,000 affordable housing units across the state, we know there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more to do. And so we're going to be going out twice annually with bond issuances to build more homes like this. And every single year with a single family bond issuance to do affordable housing home ownership opportunities, because every one of us deserves a home that we can afford. And so today we welcome residents home to this phase one and what will ultimately be the complete replacement of the former Woodbridge Garden Apartments. And Jacob's Landing, as you can see so very clearly, is providing a new, modern apartment community that's affordable to families. And affordability, it's absolutely essential, and it increases people's quality of life. But this building also does something else. This phase one also fulfills another part of the agency's mission, which is to provide supportive housing. It has 5 units set aside that will be for some of our state's most vulnerable residents, and those are homeless families and individuals. The agency has helped finance several projects in Woodbridge, and in working with the township, I mean, truly, we have such an incredible partner here in Woodbridge, and we are pleased to continue that partnership with Woodbridge and Ingerman through the remaining 2 phases of Jacob's Landing. Because again, building rental housing that's affordable to workforce, families, and individuals, it enables them to grow and stay in this community and have ready access to amenities and jobs and transportation, and that's a key part of our mission. So we're proud to be a financing partner in this development by providing $17 million from our conduit bond program and awarding 9% low-income housing tax credits, which have been across the country the primary backbone in financing affordable housing. It's truly an investment in this community that will continue to grow and strengthen the fabric of Woodbridge. So congratulations to you all. Welcome home, and I look forward to joining you again for phases 2 and 3.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you very much, Katie. Late to join us here was Phil Hall. He is the chairman of our Affordable Housing Corporation and a great public servant. A couple other people in the audience that work for the town I should recognize. Rich Lorenzen is our tax collector. Dennis Henry, our public works director. Beth Schreier, our official photographer. John Haggerty, our communications director. And a woman who does a whole lot of the work that we all get to stand up here for. She works not only for the Redevelopment Agency and the Affordable Housing Corporation, and Carol is the chief of staff and all kinds of different things, Heather Lomata. So thank you all for being here. I mentioned Ingerman and BCM Housing. They've done 3 great projects in Woodbridge, and this goes to show you that if you come to town and you do the right thing and you do the right job and you do the right project and you do it well, you're going to be rewarded with more projects. And as I said, Maple Tree to Reinhardt to Delina, now to Jacob's Landing. Bruce Morgan is here from the company. I'd like to ask him to say a few words.
Hello. Thank you all for coming. I was saying to John Haggerty a moment ago, 2 weeks ago, it was supposed to snow today. And the next day it was supposed to snow. And then the next day. And I thought, I know we advertised, but I was going to cancel. We couldn't do this in the snow. And what did we get? We got the nicest day of the year. And I think that's very fitting for this community. I came to this community 19 years ago. I started working with the previous housing authority. I was working not only with the previous administration in City Hall, but the one before that. And I may not be timely, but I am tenacious. And sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to raise the financing. But we got it, and we're here today because of a lot of hard work on a lot of people's parts. Most importantly, the administration. Mayor McCormick and his staff, and Carol and Marta and everybody else who works in City Hall couldn't be easier to work with. They really want to get things done, and this is what happens when you really want to get things done. Things happen. I'd also want to thank the NJHMFA. They've been wonderful. They gave us all of our tax credits. We have tax credits for phase 2. We're soon going to be applying for tax credits for phase 3 in July. We hope to be significantly done this entire project by the end of next year. It's going to go into the following year, but we think we will be significantly done everything by the end of next year. That work couldn't have happened without financing from the HMFA, financing through our syndicator, the Richmond Group. Our investor on this phase was Citibank. I don't believe they're here, but their contributions were invaluable. My architects, Haley Donovan, my engineers, Matrix New World, their designs were fantastic. And this site, it may look flat when you drive down Bunns Lane very fast, but now that we're narrowing Bunns Lane and people start to drive slower, you'll see there's really a hill, and there's a lot to do here to get all this parking off-site. Remember, there is no parking off-site down at the bottom of the hill. So there was a lot to do, and I think our design professionals really did a nice job from the buildings to the site work. Ingerman Construction is building the building. Nicole Noon is leading the charge, and I think her and her team are doing a fantastic job. Ingerman Management Company is managing the building. We have this building right here, which is building number 1, which is just about full of residents. Building 2 will be full very shortly, and we just got COs on 3 and 4, and they will be filled so we can start knocking down the next couple buildings. So with that being said, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. I'm very, very, very proud of this site. It took way too long to get to this point, but now that we're here, I think everybody's going to be very proud of the final product.
Thank you, Bruce. Charlie Kenny was a councilman in the 1st Ward many years ago when we first started talking about this project, so that when he went to the Middlesex County Freeholder Board and we needed financing to supplement a lot of what was going on here, he knew exactly what was going on and was more than happy to shepherd the financing through the Middlesex County Freeholder Board. So now I'd like to thank Freeholder Kenny and ask him to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Freeholder Director Ron Rios and the rest of the Freeholder Board, especially Freeholder Blanquita Valenti, who's involved in projects like this is what's great about being on the Freeholder Board. This is what's great about government coming together and working together to improve the lives and towns that make up Middlesex County. As a freeholder, this is our 2nd project this week where we've come to work with a town. We opened up senior housing at the old Roosevelt Hospital under the same type of program that's used here in Woodbridge Township. And Woodbridge Township has no greater advocates, as you all know, the Mayor McCormick, the Town Council, Carolyn, and Marta, working together to make sure that these projects come to fruition. It's great to be here today on the fact that we're seeing this property reborn and being brought back to life, being brought back to, or being brought into the 21st century. And it's fantastic, so thank you all, and way to go, Mayor.
Thank you, Freeholder. Very little happens in town without the mayor knowing it, as you can imagine, which means very little happens in Woodbridge without Carol Orlick knowing it, as my right-hand person and someone I've been working with for the past 20 years since our time on the town council. We worked together a lot back then when I was a town CFO. We worked together in Trenton, and when we became mayor, the first choice was Carol to be chief of staff and oversee everything that goes on, including this project. So I'd like to ask Carol now to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. When we first envisioned this project, what we wanted to do was create a neighborhood, create a home effect, create a place where everybody who lives here